Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that your town is on fire. Not the buildings, not the streets, the ground itself. Now imagine that fire continuing to burn for years, then decades, then generations. Beneath the quiet hills of Pennsylvania lies one of the strangest disasters in American history. A fire that began in 1962, a fire that forced thousands of people to abandon their homes, a fire that still burns today. This is the story of Centralia, the town that never stopped burning. Before it became famous around the world, Centralia was just another small American town. Located in eastern Pennsylvania, Centralia was built on coal. The town was founded during the 19th century when vast coal deposits attracted miners from across Europe. Families arrived seeking opportunity. Immigrants from Ireland, Poland, Ukraine, and other nations settled in the region. Coal was everything. It heated homes, powered factories, and fueled the growing industrial economy of the United States. For decades, Centralia prospered. The town had schools, churches, local businesses, and a strong sense of community. Children played in the streets, families gathered for community events. Neighbors knew each other by name. To outsiders, Centralia seemed ordinary, peaceful, stable. No one could have imagined that beneath their feet lay the seeds of a disaster that would one day erase the town from the map. Because deep underground, beneath houses, roads, and churches, stretched a vast network of abandoned coal mines, miles of tunnels carved into the earth over generations. Most residents rarely thought about them, but those forgotten tunnels would soon become the center of a catastrophe unlike anything America had ever seen. For nearly a century, Centralia remained a quiet mining town. Life moved at a steady pace. Children attended school, miners went to work, families built their futures. Then came May 1962. A seemingly ordinary decision would trigger one of the most unusual disasters in American history. As Memorial Day approached, local officials wanted to clean up a landfill located near a cemetery on the outskirts of town. Dump had become an eyesore. Trash had accumulated for years. To solve the problem, workers reportedly used a method that was common at the time. They set the garbage on fire. The plan was simple. Burn the waste, extinguish the flames, move on. But something went terribly wrong. Beneath the landfill lay old mining tunnels connected to vast underground coal seams. At some point, the fire reached the coal below the surface. Once that happened, everything changed. The flames disappeared from sight, but they did not go out. Instead, they began moving underground, slowly, silently, unnoticed. At first, nobody understood the danger. Residents continued their daily lives. The streets remained busy. Businesses stayed open. The town carried on as if nothing had happened. But beneath their feet, a hidden fire had begun its journey, and it would never truly stop. At first, officials believed the fire could be controlled. After all, how difficult could it be to extinguish a fire? The answer would shock everyone. The underground mines beneath Centralia formed a massive labyrinth. Miles of interconnected tunnels stretched beneath the region. Once the coal ignited, the fire found an almost endless source of fuel. The earth itself was feeding the flames. Engineers proposed solutions. Excavations were planned. Barriers were built. Millions of dollars were spent. Yet every attempt failed. The fire always found another path, another tunnel, another pocket of coal. Years passed. Underground blaze continued to expand. Experts struggled to determine exactly where it was moving. Unlike a fire in a building, this one could not be seen. It could not be predicted easily, and it could not be reached safely. What made the situation even more frightening was that nobody knew how large the fire might eventually become. By the 1970s, it had become clear that Centralia was facing something far beyond a simple accident. The town was now living above a growing underground inferno, a monster hidden beneath the earth. As the years passed, Centralia began showing signs that something was terribly wrong. Residents noticed strange changes. The ground felt warmer than normal. Steam emerged from cracks in the earth. In some places, snow melted unusually fast during winter. People reported strange odors. Carbon monoxide and other dangerous gases started entering homes. The danger was becoming impossible to ignore. Then the ground itself began to change. Cracks appeared in roads and sidewalks. Smoke rose from unexpected places. Entire sections of land became unstable. Residents who had spent their entire lives in Centralia suddenly found themselves questioning whether their town was still safe. Many hoped the problem would eventually disappear, but it only grew worse. Fire was no longer hidden. Its presence could now be seen almost everywhere, and the most terrifying moment was still to come. By the early 1980s, most residents knew the fire was still spreading beneath Centralia. But many continued living there. Life went on. Children still played outside. Families still called the town home. Then, on Valentine's Day in 1981, everything changed. 12-year-old Todd Dombowski was playing in his grandmother's backyard. It seemed like an ordinary day. Without warning, the ground beneath him suddenly gave way. A massive sinkhole opened beneath his feet. Todd fell into the opening. For a terrifying moment, it seemed as though the earth had swallowed him alive. The hole was more than 150 feet deep. Thick smoke and toxic gases poured from the darkness below. Fortunately, Todd managed to grab onto a tree root. His cousin quickly pulled him to safety. The entire incident lasted only seconds, but it shocked the nation. Photographs of the sinkhole appeared in newspapers across America. For many people, it became undeniable proof that Centralia was no longer safe. The fire beneath the town was no longer just a curiosity. It was now a direct threat to human life, and the government could no longer ignore it. Following the sinkhole incident, authorities took drastic action. The federal government approved millions of dollars to relocate residents. Officials reached a difficult conclusion. The fire could not be stopped. The only solution was to move the people. Some residents accepted the offers immediately. Others refused. After all, Centralia was more than a town. It was their home, their memories, their history. Families had lived there for generations. Many residents fought to stay, but one by one, houses were purchased and demolished. Schools closed. Businesses disappeared. Churches lost their congregations. Entire neighborhoods vanished. Roads that once connected homes led only to empty fields. What had once been a thriving mining community slowly transformed into a ghost town, not because of war, not because of economic collapse, but because of a fire that nobody could stop. Today, Centralia barely exists. Only a handful of residents remain. Most of the houses are gone. Nature has reclaimed much of the land. Visitors who arrive expecting a town find something very different. Empty roads, silent fields, scattered signs of a community that once thrived. In some areas, steam still rises from the ground. Temperatures beneath the surface remain dangerously high. Scientists estimate that the underground fire may continue burning for another century, possibly longer. Beneath the hills of Pennsylvania, millions of tons of coal still remain, fuel waiting to be consumed. The fire is invisible, but it has never stopped. Even now, as you watch this video, it continues to burn, silent, hidden, relentless. Most towns disappear because of war. Others vanish because industries collapse. Some are abandoned after natural disasters. But Centralia is different. Centralia was destroyed by something hidden beneath the earth, a fire that began with a simple mistake, a fire that consumed an entire community. More than 60 years later, the people are gone, the houses are gone, the town is gone, but the fire remains, still burning, still waiting. Beneath the silent ground of Centralia,